Everything is going up rapidly with absolutely no consequence, we are told. We can safely unleash the helicopters to drop cash from the skies without creating any inflation because they keep telling us there's no inflation. None to be found. Look outside your window. No inflation there. Look under the mattress. No inflation there either. Look everywhere. No inflation to be found. Unless, of course, your vision is not impaired and you are actually conscious. Then it's painfully obvious. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. A little bit of humor to start the video off because I think it's pretty clear that there is a lot of inflation. No, not the core PCE inflation rate the Federal Reserve uses. No, not the CPI, or as some call it, the CPI. You're not going to see inflation in those indicators because they can always manipulate the levels to whatever they want to show. They are now saying we are willing to overshoot, but they've been trying to create inflation based on their metrics for years and years and years and years, and somehow they can't come up with it. Look, there's something wacky going on here, because if you see what's going on in certain aspects of the financial markets, it's clear, it's very clear where the money is going. You've got so much money being injected into the system through all of these different methods, and you can't find it. My goodness. So we're going to talk today about what's happening with things like uranium. We're going to look at platinum and other precious metals. I want to show you what's been happening statistically. I've got some indicators. I've even got Janet Yellen as well in here, and Jerome Powell specifically stating again, this isn't the first time, again, that the real unemployment numbers are 10%. And that's the numbers that they use, because of course you're looking at people who have left the labor force. It's not 6.3%. Everybody knows that, except for those who are trying to use that unemployment rate as a way to say, no, everything's just fine. But really, it isn't. Let's get into it right away. So we have uranium stocks surging, many different companies performing well or had issues that resulted in the prices rising. You could see here in this chart, looking at the uranium sector over the past few days, it has gone up. We'll see if that trend continues. All I'm noting here is that we are looking at a different reason for different companies, for different sectors. But certainly overall, things are really getting heated. Record investing pushes industrial silver and platinum into deep deficits, near 10,000 ton gap in silver. Investing beats AutoCats and platinum. They do talk about the details. If you're interested, I just simply want to show you that there's one side of it, and that is the industrial element. There's also the investment side. Then you have shortages based on what we can see, with the supply chain and so on, that just isn't able to keep up with the demand. It depends on what we're looking at here, but we've got sort of multi-pronged approach that can result in prices to escalate. But when we zoom out and we don't just look at, okay, well, the issue for silver is this, the issue for platinum is this, you zoom out and you start to realize, look, it's not just one or two things. We have this overheating taking place in basically every corner. It's going on. Platinum surges to 6-year high on industrial bounce-back bets. Gold extends gains after U.S. core inflation data miss. Platinum rallies on tight supplies and investment demand. They're discussing some of what it's broken down into. Why is this happening and this and that? For example, the commodity has been trading at a big discount to sister metal palladium, which is also used primarily in catalytic converters. They talk about it further. I'm simply noting what's going on. Let's move on. This is the chart comparing gold, silver, palladium, platinum, and the dollar. And it is evident what's been happening right here. I mean, my goodness, just since the beginning of the year, one has been the outlier. And that, of course, is platinum. Here's a chart on platinum that pulls further back, 2014 up until the present. We're going back to levels we haven't seen since right at the beginning of 2015. So that just gives you a little look at what's been going on. I mean, see where it was. I mean, from under 600 back in 2020, it's basically gone up in a straight line, and it's at around 1200 plus at this time. It has doubled in this period. And of course, that's some significant gains for something as simple as this precious metal. People often overlook it, but we should always keep it in the back of our minds. This shows you the platinum-palladium ratio. Haven't been like this for many, many years. I mean, that has been declining now since the financial crisis, essentially, but it's starting to tick up. So we'll see if that does change, and I'll keep you up to date. Same scenario here with platinum and gold. Since the financial crisis, this has been declining, the ratio of platinum to gold, and now that has moved upward. I don't know if platinum is going to be able to necessarily go back to where it was during that financial crisis time frame, but at this point it has broken out, and we'll see what happens in the near term. More garbage out of the Federal Reserve. I wanted to bring it to you. Fed Chair Powell citing bleak jobs pictures as policy will need to stay patiently accommodative. So you're telling me on one hand that the unemployment rate, as they put it, 6.3% on the U3 unemployment rate. Okay, 6.3%. Number one, Jerome Powell said the actual unemployment rate is probably closer to 10%. Okay, so that's one thing. So we can basically axe that 6.3%, and he's suggesting it's closer to 10%. And if you look at other metrics that are out there, it may be much higher. You look at underemployed people, you look at people who have taken on temporary jobs. If they work one day in the month, somehow they're considered to be employed. You know how it works. Anyway, so this just gives you a little bit of insight. And then we take it a step further. When you see all of the different fantastic elements that are going on today, oh, everything is just fine. The market is forward looking. That's right. You can look past all those unemployed people. You can look past all those people, millions and millions and millions of people who do not have work, who do not have steady income, who are unable to actually afford to buy food. So they're going to the food banks, they're going in to use their EBT cards because they cannot afford food. Millions and millions of people. Are there people that abuse these systems? Yes, most likely. But that's not the case for all of them. There are people today who are not technically under the poverty line, but basically can't afford to live. So what do you call those people? This is a whole bunch of them. We're talking about millions of people. And you tell me you look around and everything's fantastic. Yeah, maybe with you, maybe with your friends, maybe with your family and your co-workers, because your life has maintained the same status quo, the same standard of living. But for so many people, it didn't get any better after the financial crisis, and they still today haven't recovered. Now we got to talk about those people, because the more of those groups there are, the worse the situation gets. The stock market, on the other hand, it can move up and up and up and up because they're juicing the markets. We know that as a fact. But we have to understand that there's a difference between the economy and the stock market, and I can't believe it's 2021 and people don't know the difference. They hear the word economy and they think stock market's doing great. It's not the same thing at all. It's not the same thing at all. Wall Street is different than Main Street. Wall Street is different than Main Street. We need to get that through whenever you hear somebody make that mistake, we should be correcting them, because it now is the most widest gap ever in history in that regard. Without misclassification errors that have plagued the Labor Department since last March, the unemployment rate would be closer to 10%, Powell added. Now, this is coming directly from Powell, but the point here, and I'm glad CNBC had actually published something that's legitimate. They said specifically, and I covered this throughout the whole period as it was taking place, they said specifically, the Labor Department that is, we realize that the numbers are inaccurate, but we will not revise them. If anybody can explain how that's okay, I would really like to know. It's a big bunch of garbage, but that's what they're feeding people. And then you keep hearing, well, the economy's doing well. The economy's doing well. Well, of course, when they intentionally manipulate the numbers, they can make it look so rosy. But I'm sure all those people that are sleeping in their vehicles now are not agreeing with you. And all of those individuals who would have been out on the streets, but the eviction moratorium's in place. They don't have any money. They don't have any jobs. They don't have any prospects, but they're simply allowed to live where they are just because there's a rule in place preventing them from getting booted out on the streets. Imagine how many millions of people would be homeless right now in addition. But we've got things in place and making that basically not happen yet. But how long could this go on for? What's going to happen in the end? Nobody wants to talk about that. They're saying there's a recovery, but we still haven't discussed this. You've got millions of people who can't pay their bills. There's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they're racking up in debt that they owe. Oh, we'll just push that off. The landlord wants his money. The landlord needs to get paid. If he doesn't get paid, he has to start selling his real estate. That's a matter of fact. Or the lender, or he's going to go bankrupt, then the lender's going to take a hit. Why is nobody talking about this? They're making it seem like the recovery is on and all the problems are over. This is nonsense. Don't ever believe it. Don't ever believe when somebody tells you that. And I see the comments all the time telling me to capitulate to this garbage. I'm not. I will not give up. I will not stop speaking the truth. That is not going to happen. You're not going to get that at the Money GPS, and I'm really upset about that. That's all for this video. If you found it informative, hit that thumbs up button. When you do, you are supporting me. I want to thank you for that. Simply by clicking that button on your screen, you help me out. Thank you very much. If you want to learn about e-commerce, you can do so for free at the AmazonGPS.com. There are 9,000 people in that course, so you can definitely join up. It's totally free. Take a look. If you want to learn about the financial system and you are able to read, and all these days, most people, they don't read. Well, if you want to be one of the people that have read this book and these books, and I know that so many have told me personally that they thought it was fantastic, and I would advise people to take that book and give it to somebody when you're done. Say, you need to read this book. It's fantastic. Check it out. It's so easy to read. Anybody in your family could read this and learn a thing or two. So definitely check it out at the link in the description. If you want to check out some more information that I've got, this video is for you. If you haven't seen it already, click it and I'll see you there.